I said, I'm going to make you disappear. Absolutely. Oh, sorry. Caught me at an awkward moment. I was just doing a little bit of practice with my children. Hello. And I'm Mad Jelly. I'm back to read you another story. Remember, it's not blue jelly and it's not bad jelly today. It's Mad Jelly. And I know you've been looking forward to another story from me. I had to get my locks into gear this morning. They were a little bit out of sorts. Oh yes, like my Guardians of the Galaxy, I decided that no more Quidditch this week. I'm going for saving the galaxy. So I thought I'd put on my superhero t-shirt and get my Groot on. Who else likes Groot? So sweet. Apparently not quite so sweet in the comic strips, but in the movies, he's just lovely, and he saves all his friends by looking after them and growing a big circle of love around them, protecting them. And then we end up with a baby Groot. Super! Just love Groot. So if you'd like to get your Groot on, we can have a little bit of story time together. Look who's back. I know I love David too. He's a special crush of mine. David, if you're watching ever, you know where to find me, in the magic school of Snotworks. So, we've all experienced David before, haven't we? And many, many guises. But David is a super, super author and a fabulous comedian. Do take the time to look him up, adults. It's just super. And he writes children's stories. And I thought you might like to hear a new one, which I was lucky enough to magic up yesterday. Don't look over here. I just created it randomly out of thin air. Nothing to do with Aldi on having children's books on special. Whoops. See, you can't see that. If I hold the book like that, it disappears. Magic. So, this is called The Slightly Annoying Elephant. Who's had a slightly annoying elephant at their house? Haven't we all on occasion? Or maybe it's just the elephant in the room that nobody wants to acknowledge. Plenty of those around, aren't there? So let's just have a wee look. Cover, isn't it? Nice hard cover, this one. Protects the book well. We've got a super spine down the back to keep it nice and strong and straight. Ooh, look at that. It makes me look like I'm slouching, doesn't it? Probably not. And then on the back, there's your free elephant. While stocks last, of course. So, The Slightly Annoying Elephant by David Walliams. And it's illustrated by Tony Ross, who, as we all know, is an artistic genius. Or at least so it says on the book. Let's find out if he is an artistic genius, because we can have a look at the book and his illustrations. Goodness me, that is a super big title, isn't it? The Slightly Annoying Elephant. Maybe it's got to go with the elephanty sizes in the book. This is to Sam and Phoebe, and to Jackson's brother. One day there was a loud knock on the door. Sam ran down the stairs to open it. Was it his mum back from the shops? Was it a friend? Was it the postman? Who do you think it might be? No. It was an elephant, a great, big, gigantic, ginormous elephant. Hello, Sam, he boomed. Gosh, he is super big, isn't he? What colour is he? If you had an elephant turn up at your house, what colour would you like your elephant to be? I think I'd like mine to be teal, because that's my favourite colour, but blue is pretty close. "How do you know my name?" said Sam. "You adopted me, don't you remember?" "Well, I filled in an adopt an elephant form at the zoo, but," spluttered Sam. The last thing he was expecting was the elephant to actually turn up on his doorstep. Just goes to show you need to be careful about the invites you put out, don't you? "How did you get here all the way from Africa?" asked Sam. "On a plane, of course, silly boy. The airline was very rude. They made me buy 2 seats." Poor elephant must be quite annoyed. Would you be annoyed if you had to buy 2 seats? I would imagine that an elephant would take up lots of room on a plane, don't you? He's lucky he didn't get kicked into cargo. "Now, if you will excuse me, I need to take a bath," announced the elephant. He pushed past Sam and made his way upstairs to the bathroom, knocking all the pictures off the walls as he went. What a horrible elephant. I think I'd be ready to kick him out already, wouldn't you? Because the elephant was so big, all the water from the bath flooded to the bathroom floor. What's more, he used all the soap and all the towels. Instead of hanging the towels up afterwards, he left them strewn across the floor. Do you know what strewn might mean? Yes, laid all across the floor or pulled out and just left. You know, like little boys when they, or some little girls too, I know, who go into their drawers and they decide to try on all the different clothes and then they leave them strewn all over the floor. "I am hungry," demanded the elephant. "What do elephants eat?" asked Sam. "Food, silly boy." Sam sped into the kitchen and rummaged through the fridge and all of the cupboards. He poured all the food in the house into a massive pot and gave it a stir. "Quickly, please," called the elephant from the living room. It's quite a mess that Sam is making, isn't it? Do you think Sam will clean up afterwards? That's what all good cooks do. They clean up after themselves. Or they clean up as they go, which makes it easier, and then they don't have a super big job after. As fast as he could, Sam raced into the living room where the elephant was sitting on Dad's armchair. Without a word, the elephant dunked his trunk in the pot and slurped up all the food in one go. "Now I have had my starter, what's the main course?" he asked. Can you see a little bit of a problem popping up? He's sucking up all of the food, isn't he? Goodness me. Later, it was time for Sam's favourite cartoon to come on the television. The elephant was snoring loudly, and there was a boring show about antiques on. So Sam prized the remote control out of the elephant's foot and changed the channels. All of a sudden, the elephant woke up. "I was watching that," he boomed. "You were asleep," protested Sam. "I was not. I love shows about antiques. Of course." "Oh, sorry, do you collect antiques yourself?" asked Sam. "Of course not. I'm an elephant, silly boy." Do you know anyone else who does that with the TV remote? Puts it on a show that they say they're watching and then goes to sleep and snores in front of it. And then when you change the channel, guess what they do? Open their eyes and say, "I was watching that." Sure you were. When the boring antiques show had finally finished, the elephant declared, "I need to take some exercise." "Exercise?" asked Sam. "Yes, I need to lose a few pounds. Do you have a bicycle?" Yes, but, spluttered Sam. Can you imagine where the bicycle would end up if an elephant sat on it? But what? Demanded the elephant. Well, it's quite small, and being an elephant, you might break it. How dare you? Boomed the elephant. Now where is it? Do you think he's going to break it? Let's find out. So Sam wheeled his brand new bike out of the garage. Please be careful, he pleaded. I know my way around a bicycle, the elephant said. Last year I won the Tour de France. If you were borrowing a bike off somebody, would you be careful? Would you be careful with other people's belongings? And your own? Why do we take care of other people's belongings? And our own? Do you know? Yeah, so that they are there for next time when we want to use them. And we always try to return any that we borrow super quick, so that next time we would like to borrow them, they're happy to lend them out. If we keep them for years and years, they won't have it to borrow out to anybody else, will they? The elephant climbed onto the table, and as soon as he sat on it, what do you think is going to happen? 3, 2, 1. Oh, he flattened it. That bicycle was falling to bits, silly boy. Was it? Or do you think that just the elephant was a smidge too large? We've all tried to have things that we might be a little bit large for and attempt to fit them, don't we? What happens to those? We just have to suck it up and realise they're not going to fit any longer. After all that exercise, I need a nap, said the elephant. Then he fell asleep in Sam's bed. Do you think he'll break Sam's bed? It was the door. Who could it be? Was it his mum back from the shops? Sam hurtled down the stairs to greet her. Ooh, what a super word. Did you hear that one? Have you heard that one before? Hurtled. Hurtled. What do you think it might mean if Sam was hurtling down the stairs? What might that mean? Yes, racing or speeding down the stairs. So he hurtled like a turtle. Do turtles hurtle? Maybe Yertle the turtle hurtles. A massive herd of elephants. Our friend invited us to stay, said the one with the longest trunk. Can you even tell who's got the longest trunk? They all look pretty long to me, don't they? Imagine if they all stood there at your door and you had to pick the one with the longest trunk. Which one would you pick? And I don't know that just because it's got the longest trunk that it is the best elephant. There were elephants in the kitchen, elephants on the stairs, even elephants in the downstairs loo. Ooh. Meanwhile, Sam rummaged around in his bedroom for the adopt an elephant form. When he finally found it, he realized something. He should have read the small print. Adopt an elephant. This certifies that Sam has successfully adopted an elephant. Congratulations. And then we've got small print right down the bottom, which I have to move far, far away because I've got my old glasses on today. I hereby consent to said elephant coming to live in my house and inviting all his elephant friends to stay. Well, we have to be careful of what the small print says. Can you even see what that says down the bottom? That's the bit that says that the elephant can come and stay and invite all his friends. We need to read the fine print, don't we? because sometimes it contains stuff we didn't expect. Silly boy. Have you ever done something where you didn't realize that the choices you were making were going to have bigger consequences than you thought? What do you think Sam could do about that? Do you think he could fix that situation? How would you fix that situation if it was you? We all need to think about the consequences of our actions, don't we? We need to think further ahead than just now sometimes, but it is good to be in the now and just enjoy the moment. But it also helps to think a little bit further about what those consequences might be if they're big decisions and they might affect other people, don't we? So when you're making decisions, what do you do? Do you think about how it might affect other people, like how it might make them feel or how it might make you feel? It's always good to think about how it might affect other people. But if it's a kind thing, you could think about how it might affect other people in good ways, couldn't you? How would it affect them? Might make them feel all scrummy inside. If you were going to make a card or a butterfly out of paper, you'd need to get permission, wouldn't you? But you could also make a surprise. You could say, can I use some paper to do some drawing? And then you could make something for somebody in your house that tells them how much you appreciate them and how much you love them. Because it's always good to hear those things, even when you're a happy person. It makes you even happier. Did you know that? It's just like magic, but you don't even need a wand. How super is that? So remember, make the most of all the situations that you have. Remember to tell everybody as often as you can how much you appreciate them and love them. And remember to be kind and compassionate and thoughtful. And think about the consequences. Because sometimes they're really good, aren't they? So on that note, have a super day and think about some of the things that you could do to make somebody else's day better. And on that note, I'm going to just magic myself out of here. Even though my wand's broken, watch, I'm just going to disappear. 1, 2, 3.